the answer to his prize.
Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. So this is quite an exciting conversation and first time in Trinidad and Tobago, talking about Just Kidz Emergency, an all-in-one solution shop for pediatric care. So parents, I know you're going to be excited for this conversation. Joining us in studio, we have Dr. Joanne Paul. We also have Dr. Paula Robertson and Dr. Sean Matthews to talk to us about this brand new space. I'm going to say space because it sounds very exciting in Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, doctors, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. I love the energy. We're feeling the Christmas energy this morning on set. Now, let's get straight into the conversation about what inspired Just Kidz Emergency. Dr. Robertson.
Oh, thanks so much for having us, first of all. We've had this conversation between us for a long time. I mean, between us, it's going to make us feel old, but we've got a combined experience of over 50 years working with children and young people. And a lot of our parents are always asking us for what other alternatives and options they have to coming into the hospital. We all have had experience working in the public sector. I still do. Mm-hmm. And, while I do thoroughly enjoy that, I know that there's a need for parents who are looking for something that's available when your pediatrician's office is closed, out of hours, that dreaded kind of middle of the weekend, middle of the night when there's an emergency and you just need somebody to consult. You're worried and you want an expert to look after your little one. And so that's where this all came out from, because we realized that there was a need and an opening for something like that to happen for our parents. And so this is the concise version, but over quite a few years of discussion and back and forth, looking at other models, we decided to create this safe space for kids, child-friendly, but with expert care that's available 24/7.
And this is something that is so important, a safe space for children. We need this in Trinidad and Tobago. And trust me, when you start to hear about the different facilities that are offered, you're definitely going to be excited. Now, Dr. Paul, offset, you were sharing a wealth of information, so I'm just going to open the floor to you now.
No problem. I love that. So the most exciting thing is that we're copying the Barbados models. So there they have the urgent cares where, because they have so many tourists coming through, you come through, you're seen, you have a standalone emergency department. So we're copying that, but the difference, we have a twist, right? So it's the first pediatric urgent care in the Caribbean. That's a huge deal. So it's standalone. So if we have to refer you afterwards, you go to either the public or the private. So you come through, but we decided to do a solution shop with it. So we have it where you come, you have the emergency department, then you have the lab section, which Sean will talk about some more. Then you have the observation pod. So if you want to, you can be seen and watched there for about 24 hours, all right? So if you have your little gastro, dehydration, anything at all, we observe you with specialized nurse and specialized doctor. And in addition to that, we have the clinic section where we have the only heart specialist in Trinidad, Dr. Ronan Ramroop. We have only specialist in terms of the hematologist, which is the children blood doctor. Only one day having clinics, but more than that. I mean, how could there be more, right? So then we have, which is what this is about, we have the outreach. We're saying, if you have any urgent needs, come to us. Observation, come to us. If you want specialist care, come to us. And we still make you go back to your pediatrician, but also we're giving back to the society. We want to give back, and we're having, which Paul will talk about afterwards, outreach. So we're having a JKE segment on this station. We're going to be with you guys every Wednesday, right? And giving back to the public out there, saying, we want you to come to us and we will help you with your needs, but also we're giving back to you guys. All right?
Dr. Paul, that is something that is so important. And the list, I mean, you just kept on calling things. I'm like, all right, well, this list is not going to end and this conversation needs to continue. So you know to tune in on a Wednesday, right? But how big is your team? Because, I mean, we have 3 of you here, but you mentioned heart specialists and this and that and whatever. So maybe an all-round number. All right, Dr. Matthews.
All-round number that would be about at least 15... between 15 and 20 doctors and, specialized nurses as well. So could kind of give you a little idea of how things go if you show up to us. It's, as you walk in, you're basically seen by a nurse, your vitals are taken, your triage, and you're immediately seen by a doctor in our exam area, depending on what's needed after that, because lots of the time might be something you just see and you go home, hopefully. But then we also have other things that we could do. So sometimes people need blood work. with kids that could be quite traumatic. So we actually have some nice little machines that don't take lots of blood. It's just less than 1 ml of blood. And we can do a full panel of blood work with that. We also have in-house ultrasound, which us as doctors will use. We also have like ECGs, we have X-rays. Then we have the observation pod. So if for some reason, say you come in vomiting, diarrhea, can't keep anything down, we have to keep you for fluids. We actually have a nice, comfortable space. You get your TV, YouTube. You know, the children love their YouTube.
Of course.
And a nice, comfortable lie down recliner for the parents if they have to stay overnight, because you're not going to have to just sit on a chair all night. You could at least get some sleep, hopefully. So we have all those things there. And we can also do stitching, everything. Basically anything you could think of, we basically could do.
Now, this is why it's a one-solution shop. That is for sure. I mean, something you said to me definitely spoke to me. And I was at the doctor's last week, and I heard this child having blood drawn, and boy, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it took me back to even being a child. And I'm sure, I mean, the three of you experience it every day, the screaming and all this and that and whatever. So great job with the YouTube. I feel like we're going to see some plush toys in here as well, right? Like, you know, to keep them engaged, but also wonderful for considering the parents.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, again, I'm sure we can all identify, or we've had an experience of having to be at hospital and sitting down in the most uncomfortable chairs all night, waking up with all different aches and pains, which we definitely do not need. Now, Dr. Robertson, something that Dr. Paul mentioned, I mean, there's been so much information, my brain is just an overload right now, to be quite honest. So, Dr. Robertson, share with us a bit more.
Well, I like that you mentioned about parents, because actually our other thing is really about parent empowerment.
Right.
Because as a parent myself, I know that journey, wow, there's so much learning. It's a steep learning curve. And so we're here to support as well. So one of our big initiatives is really to give parents the information that they need to be really fully empowered. And we run a series of workshops. So between us, we're quite experienced in teaching advanced pediatric life support. And we're actually now expanding that to teaching our parents the basics of life support. I get asked a lot about how do we handle choking, or how do we deal with the child who is in a situation where they need to know those basic life support skills, and perhaps all that information is just flown out of your head. So we really want to make sure we're creating a safe space to really empower our parents to learn those skills and to really develop them as we go along. So they're not just a one-off workshop that we'll be providing, but ongoing support. So we're just setting up our private Facebook groups and ongoing resources for parents so that they have that knowledge base to come back to.
My goodness gracious me. Definitely Dr. Paul, you go ahead.
Well,
I see you.
but also on TV, because we're saying we're going to be on TV with you guys, right? So I think Dr. Robinson or Dr. Sean Matthews or myself will be talking about parental tips for the season. All right, we want to make sure safety. I think Paul, I want to say more about that in terms of safety tips, and also I think water. You were talking about drowning outside. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely some of the big questions that come up at this time of year. I'm watching your beautiful tree, but looking at it from the perspective of maybe a parent with a toddler or an exploring little one, is that there are some hazards around this time of year. So it's really about how do we navigate the season safely and hopefully stay out of the emergency room, knowing that if you need to, we're here. But it's really giving them those safety tips.
All right, looking forward to that. And I mean, I'm assuming you said Wednesday, so which means we're going into the carnival season, and we definitely need tips for the carnival season.
Yes, we do.
You said hydration, Dr. Paul, and I can only imagine what the three of you have witnessed throughout that as well.
That's a good segment in itself.
Which leads me to a question. So what about opening hours? Because honestly, yes, I went straight to carnival. You know me by now, Trinidad and Tobago, but Kiddies Carnival as well, where you see a lot of things happen with children on the road. So let's talk about when you're going to be open.
So we're open 24/7, and you come in and you're actually seen by a pediatrician or a pediatric emergency specialist. So it's not a junior doctor, it's not a GP, it's specifically somebody who knows kids and knows how to deal with kids from first day they're born to 18 years old. So you'll always be seen by a specialist.
So we've been talking about the theme that's resonating through the conversation and through this amazing solution that the three of you have offered, which is a one-stop shopping community. Yep. But what I'm also getting from this is that once you come, I mean, you did say, of course, there will be referrals made if necessary, but children are going to become familiar with your team. And that's going to make things a little bit easier. Is that something that you've noticed in your line of work throughout the years, that the more familiar the child is, the easier it is to care for them and so forth?
It is, but we also want to resonate totally that we're here to supplement the pediatricians. So we're all pediatricians and we're all pediatric specialists. But when they come in, we're providing a service to supplement that. And afterwards, we say we want to go back to your pediatrician and say, yeah, you have had your pediatrician for years, go back there. But if you don't have one, we're here available because we're here to augment any need. We're supporting the GPs, the pediatricians, anybody, but we're really here for the families, as Dr. Robinson was talking about. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not sure what to do, you have some urgency, just come down. You have some options, at least come to us or go to the hospital.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing that, because that's one of the questions I definitely wanted to ask for those who don't have a pediatrician. You know, well, this seems like the place to come to. Because definitely family energy and so much going on. I mean, look at the joy on set this morning, though. I can't wait to have this team back. It's going to be so much fun. But something I also noticed, which I found quite interesting in the services and the follow-up clinics that you have particularly, is First Seizure Clinic. What is that?
That's me.
Okay, that's you. Let's go.
That was me. So my background interest, actually, I have a few, but I am really interested in, and I do a lot of work with families who live with epilepsy. So I have a lot of experience with dealing with that first-time seizure, and especially with first aid training around this. So I work with a couple of organizations where we teach and train first aid specifically for seizures. So part of this is really investigating the first seizure, but really it's about, again, that hand-holding and support, empowering families to manage it should it happen again, and knowing that they're not alone.
Okay, wonderful. So there's a lot more that we could talk about. However, they're going to be back on the show. Welcome to the Now Morning Show family. We appreciate the three of you. We can't wait to see what's happening. Trinidad and Tobago, make sure that you check out there's so much information, Trinidad and Tobago this morning. Just Kidz Emergency, JKE 623-5439. You can also call them at 322-5749, located at Broome Street in St. Clair. Dr. Matthews, Dr. Paul, Dr. Robinson. Thank you for joining us for the first of many. I would say Merry Christmas, but you're going to be back. So looking forward to having you back soon.
7:20.
Every Wednesday, 7:20 a.m. Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much, Trinidad and Tobago. Stay tuned. There is more coming up on the Now Morning Show that you don't want to miss. And guess what? It's something to add to your calendar.
I'm so lonely. There are no children home by me. Ma, you don't know.